Yes, like he's like, it's crazy. It's like you're trying to hide.
Is that right, eh?
Yeah, it's like you're Taliban in a cave or something.
Wow. Hey, it might go live, and then it's going to be a little bit before Jesse says live. So,
okay,
just
don't be crazy.
Don't be crazy. Okay, Scott, don't be crazy.
That's a big ask, Al. Big ask. Like he's like, it's crazy. It's like you're trying to hide. Not right, eh? Yeah, it's like you're Taliban in a cave or something.
It might go live, and then it's going to be a little bit before Jesse says live. So.
I hear an echo, Al. Mm-hmm. You all ready for Christmas?
Got Corolla present, so I'm all good.
Oh, that's the big one, eh? I saw you guys were down at the Nico Gardens and Corolla's ringing in the bell. That's great.
It was, yeah, it was beautiful down there too. They did such a nice job with the decorations. It's amazing. So
great organization.
Yes, very much so. Yeah. Okay. Welcome to Hopeifiers. My name is Alan Friesen. With me is my co-host, the amazing Scott A. Sweetman. Hey, Scott Sweetman, how you doing, brother?
I wish the A stood for amazing instead
amazing.
of Arthur.
Let's change your name. Go get that filed. Scott, Amazing Sweetman. I love it. That's great.
I don't think I could keep a straight face when I was filing it. I would just start laughing and the woman would be like, get out of here. Go.
I understand that. Every once in a while, I sing this song that's oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. And I have a hard time not laughing as I'm singing that song. So
you know who sang that song?
Mac Davis.
Mac Davis?
Yes.
Yeah. I always equate that with the song, I'm going to hire a wino to decorate our home. Do you remember that one?
No, a wino to decorate our home.
Yeah, wow. It's a wife singing, or it's the wife who wrote the song, and she's going to hire a wino to decorate the home so her husband feels more at home instead of going to the bar hills.
Yeah. Nice. Excellent.
And that was by Lefty Frizzell, brother to David Frizzell.
Oh yes, Lefty Frizzell. He's quite a character. He was going to run for president of the United States a few years back. So yeah.
Many years ago, when I was bouncing at Cook County Saloon, I had to babysit him. He was the talent. So
he was the talent, and you were there to make sure he stayed. Yeah. Excellent.
Funny guy.
So, Mr. Sweetman, we are on part 2 of our 3-part series of Hope for the Holidays.
That's right. Tonight is Giving Hope for the Holidays.
Giving Hope for the Holidays. Wow. All right.
Big one.
It is a big one. It is a big one.
Yeah, I was talking to people after last week, and I got some really positive feedback. I think that people are really, it was so much going on. The holidays are so stressful. And then you add COVID and the weather issues that are going on. I forget, somewhere in the US this morning, no, it was in Australia. A bouncy castle was picked up they were celebrating the last day of school, and a bouncy castle was picked up in the air, and a number of children died, and a large number were injured, and it was horrible. Yeah. So really? I think, one of those strange things that life is stranger than fiction, right? So of course our heart goes out to those families and to the young people that lost their lives in that tragic accident. But it just, and it's something to really remember is good and bad. Life goes on, even though it is the holidays, even though, we are celebrating, that there's lots of things going on that affect people's lives in all sorts of ways. And it's important that we remember that, but it's also important that we work really hard to try and keep hope alive and help those people who might be struggling to keep it alive on their own. So that's what we're here for tonight, right, buddy?
Yes, sir. right now, I'm 82% hope right now, 82%. So
I
by
like
the end of the episode, I expect to be 97, 98, something like that.
Oh, I've been researching, so I'm coming in higher than that. I would say I'm about 92%.
Woo!
Yeah, I'm pretty hot with hope tonight.
Throw some hope on us there, brother. What do you got for us?
Okay, so gift giving is always a big, it doesn't really matter what tradition you're in. Even countries that I've been in that don't celebrate the religious aspects of Christmas often celebrate the gift giving part of Christmas. And yeah, okay, that may be because of commercialism and things like that. But a lot of other traditions also have gift giving around New Year's or giving of financial gifts, those kinds of things to help students or young people. So a lot of gift giving goes on during this time of year. Retailers will tell you that, this is their biggest season between Thanksgiving or Black Friday and Boxing Day is when most companies make or break their year in terms of income. So we all get pretty bogged down in trying to keep our budget and not run our credit cards over, but also really express how much we care for the people we love. And especially in years like this, where there's a lot going on, like the COVID issues and things we're talking about, people feel the need to give more and to try harder in material ways. And it ends up a lot of people are in trouble after Christmas. The bills are just high and they get that after Christmas sticker shock of, oh, really, I spent that much. So the things we're going to talk about tonight, certainly that we hope to share, some of them have a financial cost associated with them and some of them don't, but all of them can be mitigated, right? And you shouldn't feel obligated to overspend. And that's one way to keep hope alive for the holidays, is because I think we've all been in a position where we get a gift and we know that the person giving it to us can't really afford that gift. And it's sort of that bittersweet, right? Like we're excited and happy and we're honored, but at the same time, we're really worried about that person because obviously we care about them. So moderation, I think, is really important, right? During the holidays in so many different ways. And have you ever felt obligated to give a big gift when you weren't really in a position to do so?
Oh, probably. I can't remember it right now, but I'm sure I would have been. Probably my wife wanted something grandiose and I, convinced her.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Influenced her to something a little less, probably.
Unless it was a horse or a new sound, maybe.
Yeah, I'm out of the horse purchase. I got no business being involved with anything to do with horse purchases. So yeah.
Yeah. If you're not a horse person, the sticker shock on horses can give you a heart attack. Easy.
Exactly. And for non-horse people, they all look the damn same anyways, right? Here's a horse that's $1,000 and this one's $100,000. 4 legs, tail, mane. They look the same damn thing. So this one looks a little muscular and has a shinier coat, but yeah, not 100,000.
I was down at the Buckeye Sweepstakes, which is a big Arab show in Ohio. And I was outside the ring and a very famous handler, one of the Boggs brothers, came whipping by and he tossed me a lead to the stallion. He said, I'll be right back. And so I'm holding the stallion and I look back and the stallion is an extremely famous stallion. And the last time it sold for was like $8 million. And so I'm holding this lead. I'm sure I was shaking. I was like 20, 21 or something. And yeah, I was like, this is my entire life times 10, I think. So yeah, it's to non-horse people, they're shaking their head, but to horse people, it's like, yeah, it's all about lots of stuff, right? So
the breeding, the training, the performance. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that go into how horses become so have such big
valuable.
I was gonna say, but I thought maybe have a big price tag might be a better number.
Yeah,
the horses that were valuable were back in your grandpa's day when those horses were running the farm and they were the transportation to school and town and made the crops come in and harvest the crops and like they were everything, right? Even our indigenous people, right? They talk of the horse days and the dog days, right? And that was a huge. The horse days were big. The camps got bigger. What they could move got bigger. The whole thing just that. enhanced it with the horse's arrival for the indigenous folks. So yeah,
animals are a big part of hope for humankind and always have been, right? So
definitely. You love your puppies, you love your dogs.
Yeah, we're big animal people for sure, and it's on our list too. We're going to be talking about today because pets and animals can be a good way to share hope for the holidays or during the holidays, and so that's on there. But again, we're a little bit off topic. You and I off topic. Does it ever happen now?
What?
Who would say that about us? Come on. Exactly.
But your first point is be reasonable. Think about being moderate in your gift giving if you don't have the resources for it. Like, this is not a year to compound financial troubles that you might have had, right? This is a year to dial back on the gifts. And if you're somebody who's receiving the gifts, to expect less, to expect that this is a year that for a lot of people, their purse strings are very tight this year, right? That's the reality of it. So not to exacerbate a financial situation. That's what you're suggesting is, right?
And I'm suggesting too that often we over obligate ourselves and we think the expectations of the other person are actually different than they are, right?
Yes. Very good point. Yes, exactly. Just like where you're saying you got a gift from somebody and you knew they couldn't afford it. Well, that's a very bittersweet type thing. You love that they got you a gift, but if it's going to impair them, if it's going to make their life harder, you really don't want that gift, right? You don't want to accept something that's going to make their life harder. So
the giving is wonderful, but yeah, we're all in a very complicated world, and there's a lot of pressure on us. And, you know, I'm in media, and a lot of it is about pressure and making people desire things and want things and feel obligated, but just resist that, right? One of the basis of keeping hope and keeping sane during the holidays is resist all of that advertising pressure, all of that societal pressure to, you know, go out and spend big bucks and buy the big gifts, and really something from the heart. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Something that's unexpected, something that's extra thoughtful, means so much more, and it really, really does. And to 99.8% of the people out there, it really does. So trust in your fellow human being, that they're not sitting there, you know, trying the minute you leave the house looking it up to find out what it cost you. That really most people, when they get a gift, are just really excited to be thought of and cared about in that way. So give gifts of love whenever possible is my advice.
That is good advice, sir. Great advice.
Any fool can run a credit card, but it takes somebody who really cares to sit down and think about, you know, what's really going to touch this person and make it special for them. So
you were a pretty good gift giver, Mr. Sweetman. You've given me gifts before, and they were nice. They resonated with me. So that you're a good gift giver. I am not so much. My strategy is to hang around until something Corolla likes, and then just go. If she walks away, I go buy it and then wrap it up. So that's my strategy. But not that I'm thoughtful. It's because I'm just trying to get it as close as I can to right. So yeah.
She's very independent, right? And that's if she needs something, she's probably going to get it herself. She's not going to wait for you to get it. So
she certainly does it. She needs me for very little. That's right. She'll just go get what she wants. Yes.
And that makes shopping harder, right?
It does. It does.
Okay, so let's get on with this. We got to go here. So these are things that hopefully won't cost you a lot of money, that'll come from the heart, and they'll say to the people or person, you know, I really care about you, and I really hope that you have a great holiday, and that 2022 is everything that it needs to be for you to be, you know, happy and to grow and to experience the best year you can have. And that's really what we're all hoping for, right?
Definitely.
Okay. So one of the things that anyone can do, doesn't matter. And I thought this was a really good one. A few of these are my ideas. I'll be honest up front, but most of them researched, check it out, sort it out. So this one I thought was really good. And this is tidy up a neglected common area. So a common space at work, at your church, in your dorm room, you know, in your house. Maybe there's even that junk drawer nobody goes into and tidies up. Just that little extra special thing. And, you know, those common areas we share often get overlooked because no one sort of takes direct ownership over them.
Sure. Yeah. Makes sense. So you spend some time and energy in enhancing that common area, organizing it, printing it, whatever it is. And then it's for your benefit, but for everybody's benefit who uses that common area.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful suggestion. Great one.
And it brings hope, because people say, oh, this person cares about the team or cares about that shared space, and it really sort of drives home that idea that, oh, there's a hopeful message here that maybe moving into the new year, we're all going to spend a little extra time taking care of each other, or taking care of the things we share and use. And you can take this one further, and that's by, maybe putting a little flower arrangement or a little decoration, or, a favorite picture out of a calendar. And that's something that historically people did all the time, and we don't do so much anymore because many of us use electronic calendars. But often calendars you can pick up, especially the year after, very inexpensively, and they'll have some beautiful photography that you put in a frame or with a saying on it, a nice quote. And those make really great things to put in a common area. Often they'll have something inspirational. And if you go to buy, an inspirational poster, it's going to cost big money. But if you sort of do a little do-it-yourself, maybe pick it out of a calendar, cut the calendar part off, put it in a frame. So you can take that, cleaning up a common area into making it more inspirational, more motivational.
Sure. No, that makes really good sense. And even it could be where, the image or the picture that and that's a great idea for reusing calendars. Like when you think about it, instead of that beautiful artwork going in the dumpster, right? Somebody uses it, repurposes it, and it has value beyond, right? And if you're selecting something that really resonates with that person, an image that makes you think of that person, or, that kind of a thing, that this is when I think of Scott Sweetman, I think of this lion as an example, and I get you this lion picture and say, this is what I think of you, Scott.
Like that. I'm glad you didn't pick a guppy or a goldfish or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that'd be okay too. Those are wonderful animals. Don't get me wrong.
That's a good suggestion. Nicely done, Scott Sweetman.
Yeah. And on that note, often old frames with nice glass can be found at garage sales, or online. There's a lot of community sales for a few bucks, $3-4. And old frames look wonderful. Like, yeah, sure, new frames are okay, but old frames really have a lot of flavor and texture to them. And there's a whole industry of making new things look old because they're more desirable. I suggest not paying for something new that's been, hit with chains or cut with a knife or banged up to look old. Go buy something at a secondhand sale. It's good for the environment, and you can with a little bit of energy, even if you're not an artist, you can take one of those great pictures and put it in an older frame and have a really wonderful picture.
That's beautiful. That's a great idea, Scott.
Yeah. And I like your idea of, putting together something that reminds you of somebody and giving them and saying, this picture really reminds me of you. So I sort of tagging on to that was another idea. And again, this can be a little bit dated, but sharing magazines. After you've read, I've got a couple of key magazines that I read all the time, and I like reading them on paper rather than a digital version. And common spaces at work or your church, as long as they're, something that's compatible, is a great way to just see what I did there.
I know where you're going with that. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, as long as it's safe for work, compatible, it's a great way to share at no cost to yourself. You've already bought it, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it's a great way to take that and share it with somebody, or find somebody that shares your interest.
Okay, so you said magazines. How about books? You read a book.
Of course. Yeah.
Sure, right? That book that was meaningful to you, and then you give it to somebody else. Say, this made a difference in my life. Maybe it's going to make a difference in your life.
Yeah, I make a little note in them. I was looking at the Glock book you gave me. I don't even know if you remember giving it to me. But when I get a book from somebody else, I write a little note in it. So the next time I read it, I know I can remember that it was a gift and who gave it to me. So
nice.
Yeah, that's just a hint to do there. But yeah,
I thought you borrowed that Glock book from me.
That's a good way, right? You borrow it and then just write gifted from Alan. And if you ever want it back, you can just say, but look, you gave it to me. It says right here, Al. So yeah, you ain't getting it back, buddy.
Fair enough. I do recall giving it to you.
Okay.
The most extravagant gift I've ever given you is that book.
Yeah, I know. But it was appreciated. It was, and I actually was recommending it to somebody else, and I said they could borrow my copy. So that's good.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, magazines, books, share them in a common area, tidy it up, share some inspirational, build a little print, something just to let people know that you hope to have a good coming year, a good holiday season with them in the areas, the space, the time, the projects that you share with them. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good one. Okay. So this is a really simple one, but it's gotten sort of complicated. And I'm just saying, take it back a little bit. And, you know, you and I grew up in a time where we were raised to open doors and ladies first. And that sort of went through a whole thing where it became not cool. And, you know, the first time I had somebody refuse to go through a door that I'd opened, I was shocked and dismayed and didn't know what to do with it and stood there dumbfounded for 10 minutes like an idiot. And so I don't think you need to get into all of that, but you can let anyone ahead of you. It doesn't have to be in the other gender. You know, I know that unless I'm in a big hurry, if I have a bunch of items and there's somebody behind me with one or two items, that I'll invite them to go ahead of me. And that's just a little gift that costs me nothing but an extra minute and a half, 2 minutes out of my schedule. And to the person who, you know, maybe is rushing and they just had to stop and grab one thing to be in line behind somebody who's doing their monthly shopping, it's a big deal, right?
That is. That's beautiful. Just a small act of kindness as a gift. That's a lovely thing. Yeah, we need that all year round. But yes, that's a really good one, Scott.
Well, and during the holidays too, because, you know, excuse me, my kids are bigger, your kids are bigger. And so, you know, they can wait at home or do whatever they do. Not that they ever wait at home, but, you know, when they were young, that Christmas shopping had to happen in like an hour that we could get a babysitter to look after the twins or whatever. So
right, yeah,
it made a big difference, you know, but to other people, I remember, you know, people who maybe didn't have the same time constraints letting us pop ahead in line. And it was a big gesture that gave us hope that humanity was still good and not all doom and gloom like the news tends to share with us a lot. So,
and on that same vein, you know, certainly the kindness of, you got a mom and she's wrangling 3 kids and trying to get through. Okay, well, what can you do to make her life easier for that transaction, right? Like, I don't know what that is, you know, take a knee and talk to Timmy for a little bit. So Timmy's, you know, got something to do where mom can pay the bill or whatever. That, you know, there's things like that you can do that way that are just so, take you 2 minutes of your time, but make a significant difference, make that kind of a transformational type of an experience for the person that you're trying to be of value to in that instant, right? So, yeah.
And how I've dealt with any concerns over gender or those things, I just do it for everyone.
Yeah.
I no longer, you know, adhere to the upbringing I received where, you know, ladies first. If somebody, I just, you know, because a guy is just as happy to somebody show them a random act of politeness as well, right? So
definitely,
just strip that away. And a lot of the things we're going to talk about today are random acts of kindness that you know, convey a meaning of hope that things are still good and we still have civility and kindness and caring in us, and we want to share it with other people. And I think that's the underlying theme that we really always want to get across to people is hope is out there. It's in you. It's easy to share. You just have to sometimes consciously take the effort to keep hope alive and share it with others, right?
Beautifully said.
This is another one of those things that sometimes might get you in trouble, but if it's done sincerely and, you know, from the heart, and that's giving somebody a compliment. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we're not, for a lot of reasons, we've sort of gotten uncomfortable in our society giving compliments to strangers, but it doesn't have to be creepy. It doesn't have to be, you know, something that's going to cause objection or issues. It can be very heartfelt. You know, your server, did something extra special for you. Yes, leaving a tip, but not everyone's in a position to leave a tip, or sometimes tips are considered part of their wages. But a compliment or a genuine thank you is appreciated by everyone. Everyone. I've never met anyone who didn't appreciate a genuine compliment or a thank you.
Yeah, that well said. Yeah, that's very nice. And again, what's it take? 20 seconds of extra time, a little bit of thought about the other person, right? So yeah, that's awesome.
And this is going to be a recurring thing tonight in tonight's show, that I'm suggesting that you set a goal, because we all try and do this, right? But we get busy and we get in our own heads, and we get, I've got to do this and this and this before, I can get home, and then I got to get supper on, and I got, friends coming over at 8. And so sometimes we forget these things. Sure. So what I suggest doing is challenge yourself. Okay. Say, I'm going to give somebody a compliment when I'm out tonight, and it's going to be real. I'm not going to make it up. I'm going to wait till I see something that really, makes me feel positive, and I want to share it with that person that they've shared that. Because often a compliment is really just sharing with somebody that you recognize they've taken the extra time, the extra energy, the extra care to do something special. And that's
kind of like sort of an extension of I see you. I see you, and I see this extra that you've done, this special that you've done. Yeah.
And I appreciate you sharing it with me, right?
Yeah.
Because we all know that when, even in a crowd, if the people around us are happy and they're trying to be nice and kind, we all feel good.
Yeah.
Right? So it's definitely something we share. This is another good one that I recommend to people, especially younger people, and that's make dinner for a friend that's really swamped or busy or maybe having trouble. And there's lots of variations on this. I hear people say, oh, I can't cook. I always recommend that everyone finds a signature dish that they can make that tastes good and people like. It doesn't have to be complicated. There's lots of good ones out there. Everyone should have a signature dish that they can share just in case.
Can I just throw in here? We might have some male viewers who say, no, really, I can't. Cookies. Anybody can make cookies. Anybody can make cookies. It's not that difficult.
Yeah, very good. Bread's a great thing. It's just a lot of power. It's really physical, kneading bread. I had a friend in Japan. He was son of a German baker. And whenever he would get frustrated, he'd bake bread, because the kneading of the bread is very physical, right? And he would always feel much better and relaxed afterwards. So good point. Make some cookies, make some bread, and just go out of your way. All of us know somebody who's struggling, right? As soon as I said that, in your head, 3 or 4 names popped in of people that, have things going on in their lives that are putting extra pressure, extra, taxes on them, that are leaving them a little resource shy. And sometimes we think, oh, well, I wish I could do something, but we all think way up here, right? We're thinking, oh, well, they need a lot of this, or how can I fix that? I can't fix that. But these little things, a plate of cookies, if somebody gives you a plate of cookies, unless you're on a big diet for diabetes or something, it's going to cheer you up, right?
It's going to be a very welcome gift. It's like, oh, that's so sweet of you. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yes. All right. I've got where Scott is frozen on my screen. That's probably what you're experiencing, but he'll come back soon, I'm sure. So whilst we're waiting for Scott, this is probably a good time for you to even consider some folks in your life who maybe that they're going through challenges. Maybe just make a list, just jot some names down, give them a call. Just give them a shout, say, hey, I was thinking about you, wonder how you're doing. It's a really unusual time, of course. What's the best thing that happened for you this year? As an example, that might be a good starting point for a conversation. So what's the best thing that happened to you? Or do you have plans for the future of something that brings you joy, brings you excitement, that you're going to contribute in this way? Is there something you're going to do that you have planned to do for other people that's going to give you the satisfaction of being of value to somebody else? So that's those are all different things that just having those short, just taking the effort to think about who you might help and then extending the offer of help to them. On the same vein, I'm just going to jump into this about System Navigator. There's this System Navigator training that we do in Lethbridge here through CMHA and through the City of Lethbridge through the Integrated Care Access Model. So the idea is to make it easy for people who need resources to get resources. And so the System Navigators are people like you and I. We're not, well, you might be a police officer, you could be a, well, that sounds like that song, you got to serve somebody. You may be a police officer. You might, no, what I'm saying is you don't necessarily have to be a police officer, a social worker, a medical professional, that you are a caring person in your community who has a little bit of knowledge about the resources that are available in our community and has the willingness to have a conversation with somebody who might be struggling and say, hey, Sarah, I think that you might be in a bad place right now. Maybe you're not safe. Do you need help in being safe? And if so, then the System Navigator then knows where to call to support, to get Sarah, in this example, the support, the resources she needs. And in doing that, I mean, think about it. If we could do that, if we could be vigilant for people who might be having a need in our community, if we can be vigilant that way, we could perhaps save them from experiencing that suffering, save them from having to deal with that trauma for 5 or 10 or 50 years. So I think it's a huge thing that we could do in terms of this System Navigator thing. CMHA, if you want to more information on it, then let me know and I will certainly get you more information. Here's my cell phone number, 587-220-8840. 587-220-8840. So, oh, is Scott coming back? Yes, Scott's coming back. So, System Navigator training, something that I would encourage you to check out. I think it's huge value we can be for other human beings in our community. We could end suffering. We could end violence for people if we get it right. I think we could. Scott Sweetman, you're back. I just had a little kind of an extension about our conversation and went through when we're talking about being, taking instances to be of care to other people, to be of value to other people, to recognize other people. I've told you this before. You've heard it about the whole System Navigator thing. I was just going through about that System Navigator and the value. It's really an extension of the same thing. It's offering to help somebody who who you believe could use your help, and having some awareness of what resources are available that you can connect them to, the humans that you can get them to, who are going to help recover, help heal, help move their life forward in a positive way. Scott, excellent. Back to you, my friend.
I don't know if I dropped or you dropped. You just froze on me. So
I think that you dropped. I think I didn't get any connection thing. Lots of times if I drop, I'll get something saying your connection is unstable. So I stayed on, and then I think we're
carried on. Well done, sir. Well done. Sorry about that, everyone. I have no idea. The internet was trying to get even with me for something. I'm not sure what. Okay. So we were talking about making dinner for a friend that's swamped or busy or sick. Anyone can do that. Even if it's canned soup, make a sandwich. Anyone can make a sandwich. There's videos on it now, for goodness sakes. Go on there. It's easy. And the idea of not only making, but sharing a meal with somebody is a brilliant thing to do. I want to add to that. This is an idea that I had. This is one of mine, and I really like this one, is make lunch for you and a coworker or a fellow student or a friend, and take them a box lunch or a packed lunch and, sit down and enjoy it with them, whether it's at work or whether it's at school or university, or, if you just pop over and visit their house. Isn't that wonderful?
That is very sweet. That would be a very nice thing to do. Yes. Beautiful.
The whole tactileness of, making a box lunch, if you've never done it before, it's really nice and intimate, and sharing. A lot of your personality comes through in the choices you make, and you don't have to buy a big bento box or anything like that. It can be some sandwiches and a couple of cold drinks in a couple of brown paper bags, put a Christmas ribbon or something on them. And so often, sharing time is about sharing hope. It's about sharing love. It's about sharing community and togetherness. And it's the thing that we forget to do the most. And the thing that we undervalue the most when we think about giving is, we always think it has to be a thing that we leave behind. What I'm really suggesting through all these things, and I know, Al, that it's a big thing for you. You're an amazing mentor and are always out there in the community. And you leave some of your love behind wherever you go. You leave that hope and that passion and your energy behind. And that is an amazing gift. So the things we're doing on this list, it's all about leaving some of you behind and not necessarily going out and buying a big gift to leave behind. So a nice little brown paper lunch for two. It doesn't have to be, a girlfriend. It can be anyone. Your boss would appreciate it. Anyone.
Making a sandwich and putting in a bag with a ribbon. I think even I could do that, Scott.
You could, Al. I know you could. You betcha, buddy. But that sounds like a lot of fun. Okay. This is another one. And, some people are not going to be in a situation where they can do this, and that's fine. Some people this might really work for. And that's have a quiet conversation with a supervisor at work, if you work on shift work, and ask if there's anyone that's been looking for extra hours leading up to the holidays or during the holidays, because often there's people that could really use those extra hours, and you maybe could use a little extra time. And so often if you go to a supervisor, they'll know somebody that may be looking for a little bit of extra holiday cash and would like to work those extra hours. And if you don't mind giving them up, you don't have to give up a lot, a shift. And if you can't, you can't. But this is an opportunity for you to give some hope to somebody else. And that one shift could be a huge difference to somebody else, or even a couple hours. If you can leave a couple hours early and somebody can cover for you on the opposite shift, can make a big difference. But of course, always talk to a supervisor first, make sure it's going to work out. You don't want to promise something and then find out later it's against policies or
right. Great idea though. If in your life the time is more valuable than the money you would earn, but the other person could really use the money, that's a great solution, right? Everybody wins in that transaction. So that's great. Yeah, good one.
I know when I was paying for university, I was always trying to get those holiday hours. And, because I didn't have a family at that time. I mean, my parents, grandparents, but certainly for me, the extra money to go towards books and things was more important than being home. And there was people with, young kids or things at home, and it would just win-win. So
great one.
That's a good one if you happen to work in that type of environment. So this is another one. Some people are not going to like this one, but write a letter to a politician that you think has done a good job. And it's free, right? It doesn't cost anything to send it to the parliament. Anything you send to the government is absolutely free. And politicians get so many protesty emails and all sorts of things that are negative. And I know from friends that are politicians, at every level, most of them are in it because they want to help people, right? And they really got into it. And sometimes, especially, now when Parliament's not sitting normally and there's lots of issues going on, there's women and men out there that are serving their constituents, and just a handwritten note sent to them in the mail saying, hey, nothing's perfect, but I appreciate that you're out there doing a good job. I know that through the LFGA, where we're doing the municipal politics, we really appreciated everyone that ran. And it's just great to see. This year we had so many people come out, right? And that many people willing to take on that responsibility and go to all those meetings. And, because it's in a lot of ways a thankless job, because you've been the president of lots of things, Al, you've been in lots of committees. There's always going to be people unhappy, and unhappy people usually express themselves. Unfortunately,
you Yeah, you don't hear from the happy people. The people that are sad, so the 1% that are pissed, you hear about them over and over and over. Yes, that's
Yeah.
right. Yes.
So I'm just saying that a good idea, right? Put a little hope, and it encourages good behavior.
Beautiful.
Right?
Beautiful. And you know what? Politicians, as you said, most of them are people that are just human beings that are trying to make a difference in other people's lives. And for them, they figure this is the way to do it. Right. And they're putting themselves in harm's way. To be a politician is, you're subjecting yourselves to abuse. So instead of being
your family, your past, your history, your future.
That is a great idea. To kind of acknowledge and just say, hey, thanks for doing the work you do. I mean, that's,
well, it makes you feel better, right? If you can pick out one or two politicians that are doing a good job, then when you're really down on the political system or how things are working out, you can say, well, but you know what? There are a few people in there fighting like, the Dickens, trying to do what's right. And so the gift to yourself is going through that process and saying, who really deserves a thank you? And they might not belong to the party you vote for. They might not be, they might be across the country. But, if you've encountered something that they've said or done, and you feel that they're fighting for what's best for Canadians, say thank you.
Yeah, great idea. Great idea.
Okay. Sorry about that. You're going to have to watch time because I lost time on our timer when we got disconnected. So give me the old speed it up if we're running out of time.
We're at 40 minutes right now.
Oh my goodness. I have so many more on my list. This should have been a two-parter. I do. Anyway, okay. So drop off a card at the doctor's office or at the hospital and thank those people for being the heroes that they are, because they are working. They are understaffed. If anyone knows a nurse or doctor or a frontline responder, they are. And it doesn't matter where you stand on the whole COVID thing. If you know any of them, you know that they are all working extra hours. My doctor called me 45 minutes ago and he was still at the doctor's office working. He'd been there since like 7 this morning. And I'm sure the nurses got there before he did or right around the same time. And it really gives you a positive feeling to say, hey, thanks for being a hero. And so many of our first responders, and it's not just our doctors, and I'll bring in some of the other ones down my list. Fire department, police department, people that run the waterworks. If you've had them come out and help you with your furnace, the people that keep our society running, say thank you to them. Give them a little bit of hope at this time of the year and say, because in every one of those departments, every one of those organizations, there's going to be people that are choosing to be there in case you need them instead of with their loved ones over the holidays.
That's an astute comment, Mr. Sweetman. A very good comment. Yes, makes sense. Yeah.
You don't have to buy them a gift. If sure, box of chocolates or whatever if you can. But in this day and age, even a simple card saying, you're a hero and we really appreciate what you're doing goes a huge way to let people know that they matter and we have hope for the future.
I would even suggest you might even just do that verbally.
Sure.
You say, hey, Dr. Rogers, thank you so much. I appreciate you. That kind of a thing. So anyways, just to decide that might even be an easier way to express your appreciation. Now you have to actually go there and do that. But yeah, that. Well,
and a little side story is I do that personally because never in my life have I been able to tell so many people that they're heroes.
Yes.
Thank them for that. I've never met so many heroes in my whole life as right now. It's amazing. They're all around us, right?
Exactly.
I just wanted to share this with you. I don't know, is the camera focusing on this?
Happy holidays, I saw, yeah.
Yeah. So as you know, Fleur's a teacher and she's going to be changing schools this next year. And I just want to share with you a card that was given to her by one of her students and the effect of that. So it says, Dear Mrs. Sweetman, I wrote this card to show my appreciation for everything you've done for me. You have pushed me and assisted me to become the best student and person I can be. I will miss you so much next semester and next year. I wish you well as you move on. Merry Christmas. And I'm not going to read the name because I don't have that permission, but I can tell you that this card will go in a box that Fleur will keep forever. My grandmother was a teacher, my aunts were a teacher, and they all had cards just like this because it means the world to people who help other people. You know, and you shared it.
And the feeling that Fleur has for the difference she's made in this young person's life, right? So it's a flow of her appreciation that she was able to make a difference in that child's life, and that child is so appreciative of her guidance and leading her to a better life. I mean, it's beautiful, right? That's humans helping humans at its best, right?
Well, and the little guy writing that, they feel hope because they're thinking and expressing the positive experience they've had. So they come away with more hope. You know, the teacher, the doctor, the firefighter, the law enforcement officer, they all feel more hopeful because they say, wow, I'm appreciated. You know, I don't always make the right call. I don't always, do my, 100% right, but I do my best. And people appreciate that. So it's just a huge, multiplier of hope, a force multiplier, if you will, of hope. So
no, definitely. Yeah.
And you shared the story of a hockey coach you sent a letter to and how his, son got back to you. Those things matter, people, and they cost almost zero or zero. Even if, like Al said, tell them. You don't even have to send them anything. Take a minute and tell them. Okay, so that's another one. And in that vein, write an actual letter to someone. When was the last time you got an actual letter in the mail? I love getting a letter. I still have a few aunts and uncles who send letters. It's joyous.
Yeah, I think it's been a few years for me since I had an actual.
I'll send you one, Al. I'll send you somebody.
All right, that'll be a nice surprise in my mailbox.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but it's inexpensive, and people love getting a letter in today's text, and because texts tend to be short, impersonal. Even if they're conveying something really important, write a letter, guys. Share your hope a little bit. So do that.
Do you write well? Like,
no.
Cursive? Are you good at cursive?
No, you won't even be able to read it out, but you'll know that I tried. So
okay, all right.
Yeah, so it'll look like some monkey. Well, actually, there was a monkey in the Calgary Zoo that could write stuff, and I was envious of his handwriting. He was better than me. So, yeah.
Good, Scott.
Yeah, it's true. This is another big one, and this is you're the king of this. Offer to mentor someone, or ask someone to be your mentor. And mentoring is something that has died out a little bit. Like, it used to be a really big part of society. Whatever you did, you had somebody that you asked questions about, and it doesn't have to be a huge time commitment. Like, don't go to somebody and say, oh, can I come, shadow you for 4 hours every day of the week? And no, but, would I be able to ask you a few questions once in a while, or run stuff by you just to check where I'm at or get your thoughts on that? And so offering to mentor someone who might appreciate your perspective, or, asking someone to mentor. When you ask somebody to mentor you, if you're not putting them in a position where they're obligated to a whole bunch of extra work, it's a big compliment. Right? Most people take that as a big compliment. So I know, Al, you mentor a lot of people. I don't know how you get all the time and energy to do that. I'm one of those people. I definitely have benefited from your mentorship, and it makes my days much more hopeful. So I tell people, get out there, be a mentor, get a mentor. There's organizations too. You're involved in one, right? Well,
Big Brothers, Big Sisters. I knew of them for years and years and years. I didn't think I ever had the time. I tried it now, and I know that I get a great deal of satisfaction by being of value to this young guy. I'm guiding him. Sometimes I don't think I'm the right example. Sometimes I teach him things I shouldn't. I taught him about going into a turn that's marked 50 kilometers. And I said, if you hit this right, you can enter at 100 and come out at 120. And so I showed him you could do it. That's not the right thing to do. That's not appropriate. But anyways, I still believe net overall, I'm a positive, but I do have to kind of dial back my childish tendency.
Exuberance.
My exuberance. Yes, exactly. Yes. My need for speed, which I do have. I certainly like speed. So.
But you've been toning that back a little bit.
I've been trying to. Yes, I do better.
A little tiny bit there. Okay. So, but it really boils down to give some of yourself or let people know that you really appreciate the time they give you. It
Yes.
comes down to that, right?
Definitely.
We talked about the packed lunch. Oh, this is a big one. As long as you like pets, offer when it's really cold out and the weather's really bad. Lots of seniors or people that are stuck at home for health reasons also have companion animals, and getting them out when the weather's really bad is dangerous often, icy sidewalks or those things. Offer them an opportunity to take their pet or their companion animal out for them for a little walk. It gives everyone a fresh, sort of break from things. The owner will really appreciate it, and the animal. You may have to spend some time getting to know the animal. Often, companion animals are trained to be okay with other people handling them, but sometimes it may take a little bit of time to become their friend and become trusted. But it's really important to do those things.
Great idea. The gift of your time to spend. Obviously, if you're have an interest in it, you like animals already, right? So you're gonna gift of your time to spend some time with an animal, get to know that animal, and make life easier for the owner, the human owner. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Like that one too is if you're in town like we are here and have the super mailboxes. Do you know what I mean by those that are down at the end of the street? When the weather is really bad and it's really icy out, if you've got a neighbor that maybe is not so sure-footed or has recently been to the hospital, or maybe can't get down to get their own mail so easily, when you go to get your own mail, just pop in, a little knock on the door and say, hey, Jim, do you want me to pick up your mail? I'm just going down to get mine. I don't mind getting it for you when I'm down there. And, if you're just laid back and polite about it, it's not going to look like you're saying, oh, you're not capable of getting your own mail. It's just going to be a nice offer. And the number of times you're going to make somebody feel bad rather than insult them, it's worth the effort, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's great. That's beautiful. Very nice, kind act that takes you, again, 30 seconds. Knock on the door. Hey, I'm going anyways. You want me to grab yours? So, right. So, yeah.
We've got a neighbor here that he invested in a snowblower, and he whips up and down the whole street and does all the sidewalks.
Does he?
Yeah, we all love him for it. And
that's awesome.
I think he does it because he spent a fortune on the snowblower and he only has 20 feet of his own walk to do. But it's much appreciated. And, it's not like he's stealing exercise. We can still all go out and get a walk or shovel our backside walks or those types of things. But just those little things when the weather gets bad, there's so many things we can do to help out our neighbors. And you don't have to be bosom buddies. You don't have to, as long as you've seen each other around, pretty much you're good to go to offer a helping hand, right?
Yeah. Excellent idea. Great one.
Good. Okay. This one that was suggested to me. I think Michelle told me this one actually is leave inspiring messages for people. Post-it note, something like that. Leave them in places, the library stack, or just really anywhere that somebody comes across an inspiring note. It used to be a thing to put notes in books. The problem is a lot of those Post-it notes have a lot of acid in them and can damage older books. So in this case, we're just suggesting to be careful where you're putting an inspirational note. Leave it sitting on somebody's desk, right? If you're in a big office, just, put, hey, you've been doing a great job. Thanks for, being a great community member, something like that.
Another thing that you can also just record a little video message and email it to them, or we transfer it to them, or put it on a USB and put it in there, put a little card or something, just a little video message saying, hey, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. You've been a good friend and ally to me. And I you always got my back, and I thank you. So.
Al's really good at that. And those of you that, maybe aren't on Al's email list at the moment, Al sends these great little videos, and it's really nice because it's him talking to you. I'm always shy. I don't know what the deal is, but I always send a text. But I really like getting Al's videos because it's him talking to me, and it's like, wow, Al took, a minute out of his time to look into a camera and share with me what he's thinking. And it's really cool. So it's a good idea, Al. Thanks. That's a good one. As long as it's genuine. I think that's what we're both saying, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. If you're doing it for something for you, other than just the gratification of saying thanks to somebody else kind of a thing, that always makes you feel good for sure as well. But if I was doing it because I was trying to whatever, manipulate, convince you of something else, that kind of thing, I don't think that's appropriate.
Most people aren't that way though, right? Really. I think we've gotten too defensive. Yes, you have to be streetwise in those things. And there are bad people out there that are trying to manipulate you, but most people are not. Most people are just trying to get on with their lives, right?
Agreed.
While we're talking about technology, a lot of people spend time online. So instead of just randomly being on there, set out a goal and start your own challenge. So challenge yourself to maybe leave 5 positive comments a day on other people's feeds. You don't even have to know them. Something that shows up in your news feed, go on there and find something positive to share. And that's just spreading hope. That's giving you a gift of hope, right? And often we consume, but we don't participate, and we're in the business, so we see a lot of it, and there'll be 10,000 people that have viewed it and 4 people have commented. And to content creators, especially people that aren't professionals, somebody just saying, hey, this is a cool idea, thanks for sharing, makes a big difference. It really motivates them and spreads that hope around, right?
Yeah, great one. Great idea.
You can also actually set up a challenge. We all see these, what was the water bucket challenge was big for a while. And then there were some really dangerous ones like the cinnamon challenge, where they had kids choking back enough cinnamon to actually choke them and kill them as a challenge. So those are silly ones, but challenge your friends to take a picture of hope, every day for 4 days and post it to their timeline. Inspirational poems. I know poetry is not so cool with the kids nowadays, but some inspirational poetry, and challenge your friends to share their favorite holiday poem or their favorite poem about hope or love or kindness. So take control of your social media and use it as a way to give and spread hope and happiness this holiday season.
Beautiful.
Okay?
Yes.
This is a good one, and I challenge all of you, anyone who's listening to this, go through your news feed, watch on the news, read in the newspaper, and find one positive story to share a day. Okay? Can you imagine if everyone out there found one positive story to share on their social media a day, what your timeline would look like now instead of the way it does? Because I know when I see my timeline, 60% is going to be negative, right? But if we make the effort, and if you're out there looking for positive stories, you find them.
Yeah, right? Good point.
Instead of passively sitting there and letting the news feed you sensational stuff, go out and find human interest stories or science stories or history sources that make you feel good, and share it, right? So be proactive, share that positiveness, get it out there, make it happen. This one I really like. I came up with this one on my own. This is one of mine. Make individual 2022 hopeless, not hopeless, hope lists, LISTS. Okay. And that's where take a piece of paper, take a card, write the words, I hope for you in 2022, and then bullet form, full sentences, poetry, haiku, whatever you want. Write some things that you hope for that person in the coming year.
I see. Okay, so I would, Scott, I hope for you in 2022, perfect health. Okay, excellent.
Because that does 2 things. So it really puts that positive energy out in the universe. And you and I are both really big on, the more positive energy you share, the more you're going to get back, right? And so in making those lists, you're going to share positive energy. You're really going to think about your friends and family and loved ones. And you may find something in making that list that you can help with, right? That you can help make those things come true.
Sure.
And when you get that list, it'd be like, holy cow, this person really loves and cares. They sat down and they wrote a list about the things they hope for me. And don't make it a backhand comment. Don't say, I hope you work harder in 2022. Those kind of things. Make it.
I hope you finally overcome your laziness.
Not like that.
That's all we want.
That would be a hopeless list.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, lists are really popular. They don't take a lot of time to read, but if you spend some time, and you can just open a notebook, and when you think of something, jot it down, and then just New Year's Eve, pass it off to the people you've been thinking about. Wouldn't you like to get a couple of lists from friends that have really thought about you and said, I hope these things come true for you, buddy?
Yes, that's beautiful. That's a very nice sentiment. Yes.
So I hope that happens for people.
I hope so too.
Yeah. So we're probably out of time.
We are. Yes. We ran a little long, but great comments. Thank you so much for that, Scott.
Thank you.
Yeah. And next week we're continuing this series. This is 2 of 3. What are we entitling next week's, Scott?
Next week we have, I want to get it exactly right. I don't want to just shoot it off the top of my head. Hope-filled hearts after the holidays. So this is combating that crash often we feel, right?
Beautiful.
You know, we've been geared up. We've all been focused on do good, make people happy. And then what do we do?
Great. That's an excellent one. So we hope to see you here back next week so we can have another conversation of hope here on Hopeifiers. I'm Alan Friesen.
I'm Scott Sweeten.